It was really fun. Hey y'all, it's Maria. Welcome back to my channel, aka the visual story of my life. Welcome back to another vlog. If you don't know, if you're new here, I've been living in Costa Rica for this summer, so go check out the other vlogs if you're interested to see what all we've gotten up to. I've been here for like a month and some change, so now I'm pretty much just floating around the country. Right now I'm in Cahuita. I'm here in this hostel for 2 nights. Tonight's gonna be my last night. Today we just spent time at the Cahuita National Park. I'll insert the footage. Fuerte. No sé cómo el hombre puede abrirlo.
Primero hay que quitarle esto y después. ¡Ay, que lo consigo!
Mucho pelo adentro.
Sí, ¿no? Yo no sé si esto es un coco, ¿eh?
Estamos como monos. Ahora abrimos para el agua.
¡Ay, que no lo vi!
¡Ay!
Pero se está saliendo.
Oh no, tienen que beberlo de...
¡Oh!
It was beautiful. It started raining, so then we came back, we showered. But yeah, so I'm kind of just floating around the country at this point. No plans, just vibes, and I'm going to take you guys along for the whole journey. So tomorrow I leave for Tortuguero, which is about 3-4 hours up north. That's where we'll be going for the rest of this week. And then after that, I have no idea. I have no idea what we're doing. So this is going to be a developing story as it goes, but I'm going to take you guys along for the whole ride, and it should be fun. So yeah, we'll chat later and I'll show you guys a little bit more of Cahuita. Y fresco.
Hombre de iba para mí. ¿Qué? Las personas.
No, muy bien.
Sí. ¿Y por eso a la derecha?
Sí, hay un momento que estamos en una fiesta.
Morning. It's the next day, so obviously I can't talk in the morning at the hostel because other people are sleeping. But this morning I'm headed to Tortuguero. To get from Cahuita to Tortuguero, you have to take a taxi to the port in Limon called Moin. This is about an hour-long drive. It was a super nice experience. I was in the taxi with this really nice Italian couple, and the taxi driver is really nice. Once you get to the port in Moin, there's a bunch of boats that are waiting to take people to Tortuguero. So the boat leaves every day at 10 a.m. The boat ride is 4 hours, so it's pretty far, and in total the taxi and the boat ride cost me $50. It's honestly such a beautiful experience though. You get to see so much wildlife, so many birds, crocodiles. Y'all, we saw so many crocodiles. 12 out of 10 experience. I absolutely loved it. So once I got to Tortuguero later that afternoon, I was actually meeting up with a friend of mine that I met during my time here. For the next few days, he was just showing me around. It is such a beautiful place. It's a small little village of around 1,500 people, I believe. And just like the rest of the Caribbean coast of Costa Rica, there's lots of Afro-Caribbean influence. It also lies in between the ocean and a river, and it's just so green, so lush, so fertile, so many birds, so many animals, and so many different types of trees and plants. May through October is sea turtle nesting season. My last night there, we went to go see the sea turtles laying their eggs on the beach. You have to wear dark colors. You can't use any white light, so I didn't take any videos with my phone. This is on the walk to the beach, so we were using a regular flashlight, but by the time we actually got to the beach, we had to use a red light flashlight. Like I said, I have no footage, but it was so amazing. The sea turtle comes to the beach. They lay like 130 something eggs, and then she uses her fins to bury it, and then also she uses her fins to create fake nests to throw off predators, and then she goes back to the sea. It's so amazing. So yeah, that was a little bit of my time in Tortuguero. Obviously, I didn't get that much footage, girl. I was just living my life, okay? But this place is so magical, and if you ever come to Costa Rica, please try to see Tortuguero. It's amazing. Morning. Yeah, I got back to San Jose yesterday. So as you saw, I took a boat up to Tortuguero and I was there for 2 nights. And then yesterday I took a boat and like 2 or 3 buses to get back to San Jose. So I'm here, I'm staying at the hostel I was staying at last week. I stayed here 1 night before Cahuita. There's so many things that I'm thinking and that I'm feeling. I'm having a great experience, but there's also just lots of feelings coming up and kind of like uncharted territory. I'm having a good time like meeting lots of people and connecting and having beautiful experiences with people, but it's so sad, like, what is that word, like the ephemerality of life and the ephemerality of interpersonal connections. If you've been keeping up with the vlogs and stuff, this is kind of something I've been talking about a lot throughout this whole experience here, because I meet so many people, I make friends with people, and I have these beautiful connections and beautiful experiences, and then we just go our separate ways in life, and we're from all different parts of the world, you know, so it's like that realization that I might never see you again. I don't know, like, I'm not a super sensitive person, but I think maybe I'm more sensitive than I thought myself to be, because I get very affected by stuff like this. My experiences that I have in life, they just always mean a lot more to me than what they seem on the surface. I just think about things very deeply, and so in turn I feel things deeply. I was reading my book yesterday, which I've showed a few times in other videos. I'm reading El Alquimista, The Alchemist, but in Spanish. There was 2 things. One line, de cualquier manera es bueno que aprendas que todo en la vida tiene un precio. Anyway, it's good that you learn that everything in life has a price. That made me think of this idea, and I'll read it to you. I said, now more than ever before in my life, I understand the physics of a pendulum. I understand that things only exist in the context of their opposite, and anything that goes one way must always swing back to become its opposite, that which it despises, that which it runs from. There is nothing that you could have or feel or experience in this physical realm for which this is not true. There is no joy without pain. There is no love without loss. There is no thrill without dullness. Everything exists only on a pendulum and never frozen in space. You will swing from that feeling of excitement, that feeling of thrill, that feeling of looking forward to something. You'll swing back to the opposite of that thing, because that feeling of excitement only exists because it has an opposite. Does that make sense? It's like now you experience dullness, you experience bore. This is something that I've always understood conceptually, but through this experience, I'm understanding it experientially. It's also understanding that neither one is necessarily good or bad. It's not like the excitement is good and the dullness, the bore is bad. It's not like joy is good and pain is bad. Understanding that the two can only exist in the context of each other, so you can't ever have one without having the other. You feel good, at some point you're gonna feel bad. You feel bad, at some point you're gonna feel good. We're always swinging on a pendulum, and we're never frozen in space. We're never frozen in one state of being. We're always in flux between 2 opposites on some range. I'm feeling like a bit low, but it's not a bad thing. It's just because I felt so high, and it's almost like I reached the pinnacle of like how good I could feel, and now I'm like low and I just feel lost. I don't know what I want to do next. I feel alone. Like, I spent the last few days spending time with people, spending time with new friends, and having beautiful conversations and connection. Read between the lines. But it's like the moment must always pass. It's like you can always be like, oh, I wish I had more time with this person, or like, oh, I wish I had more time in this place, but more time is still never enough. So yeah, that's kind of where my head is at. I'm swinging on the pendulum and I'm swinging on the low end, but this is life, you guys. Never forget that the people you know in your life, the people you see on the internet, no one is ever not on a pendulum. No one is always good. No one's life is always perfect. No one's life is always easy. Everyone that is alive in this physical realm is on a pendulum, and we all have bad days. We all have good days. We all experience joy and we all experience sorrow. Yeah, this is me experiencing that range. So today I'm in San Jose. I think I'm gonna go to some museums. Tomorrow I'm gonna try to leave super early in the morning. I'm either gonna go to Puerto Viejo, which is on the Caribbean coast, or I'm gonna go to Nosara, which is on the Pacific Peninsula. But you guys, I can't decide. I can't decide. I'm sure I will come back to Costa Rica again very soon because I just love it. But right now I'm like crippled with this decision on how to spend my last week. And oh my gosh, you know something else I've been thinking about since I've been here? Things that used to feel so important to me, they don't feel important to me anymore. And it'll be interesting to see how this evolves as I transition back into my life back home. For example, with social media, right? I remember when I was staying at La Fortuna, I was sitting in like the dining area and I was editing, and I met someone and they were asking me like, oh, what do you do? Because obviously I have like the laptop and I have the external drive, and they were just like, oh, do you do remote work, blah blah blah. And I told them, no, I have a YouTube channel. And I remember they asked me like, what's your goal with YouTube? What I said was, my only real goal is to build a community. I want to have this space for conversation and for vulnerability, for the lessons that I'm learning along my path through life. I want to share those lessons. That's really why I'm here. And I think sometimes maybe I lose sight of that, and sometimes the numbers become so important, wanting to make money from it. Maybe I got lost in chasing that and I forgot that none of that stuff actually matters. And sometimes even when I scroll on social media, I'm just like, it just feels weird seeing some content on social media that's very like consumption oriented. Like, we're always selling products to each other. As a creator online, I mean, if you've been following me for a while, you know that I do a lot of makeup content. I used to do a lot of fashion content. Even my fashion content was a lot of times like thrifting and styling, which I still think aligns with my morals and my views. I just feel like I'm looking at it differently now. A lot of what was important to me in this realm of my life just isn't anymore. Like, I don't know if this is really making sense, but I can feel that I'm navigating a shift in my perspective on all of this. I think there's a shift in me away from the materialness, if that makes sense. Like, things, clothes, and like makeup, things that we consume so much of, I don't want to consume anymore. I don't want to constantly be in this cycle of consumption and always buying things. Even being someone that works to sell other people new things, like, I don't want to do that. Like, what does this mean for me? What does this mean for my goals? And how has the goalpost moved? You know, and what am I moving towards now? Something in me is looking at the world a lot differently and looking at my life a lot differently. And I'm doing a lot of thinking about like what I actually want to do with my time. Yeah, and oh my gosh, one more thing. The camera's overheating. I hope I can say this before it overheats. But there was another line in the book. So someone was telling a story in the book of a boy that was in search of the ultimate secret of happiness, right? The boy went to go see a sage, a wise man, and the wise man told him that, I want you to go do this, and when you come back, I'll tell you the secret of happiness. He told the boy to walk through his whole castle, but as he was walking, to hold a spoon with like some drops of oil in it and don't drop the oil. So the boy went walking through the castle, fixated on not dropping the oil. And when he came back to the wise man said, "So what did you think of my castle?" And then the boy was like, "Oh, I didn't see anything because I was staring at my spoon with the oil and I didn't want to drop it." He told the boy to go do it again, but this time pay attention to everything you're seeing. Pay attention to the marvelous art on the walls and the tapestries with the oil and the spoon. So the boy went and he did it again, and he paid attention to all the beautiful things and everything. And then he came back and the wise man asked him, "Where's the oil in the spoon?" And the oil was gone. He dropped the oil. And so the wise man told him, "El secreto de la felicidad está en mirar todas las maravillas del mundo, pero nunca olvidarse las dos gotas de aceite en la cuchara." And that means the secret of happiness is to see all the marvelous things of the world, but to never forget the oil in your spoon. It's like how do you be fully present walking on the path without losing sight of where you're going and why you're going there? That's something I'm really navigating right now, right? It's like, how do I live a life of purpose that is fulfilling for myself, but also provides good for the world around me and for the people around me? Socially, politically aware, morally engaged, and like ethical. And it's like, how do I take all of these things and bring them into some sort of equilibrium? It's a grand question that I don't have the answer to, but it's something I'm really thinking about throughout this whole experience, because I'm really enjoying this and I'm really enjoying this way of living. And I don't want this to necessarily just be like something I do one time and then I just go back to the rat race. You know what I mean? And there was a quote I read a long time ago that has stuck with me. A mind that has expanded can never go back to its old dimensions. And that's how I feel. Once you have experienced certain things, once you have realized certain things, you can never go back to the way you used to think about things. Just my thoughts, but I'll take you guys along with whatever I end up doing today. I'm gonna go ahead and get ready. I've been paying for my hostels like one night at a time, so I'm probably just gonna go to the front desk and pay for another night because I think I want to stay here tonight. Because also it's Saturday and there's a girl I met in Cahuita who told me she's gonna be in San Jose this weekend. So I messaged her and I was like, if you want to do anything tonight, because I kind of want to go out, but I also don't really want to go out by myself. That's more of like a safety thing. So all this to say, I think I will stay here again tonight and I'll spend the day doing whatever. I'll take you guys along and then we'll see what we get up to tonight. Right now my hostel is empty. There was 3 girls from the UK that I was talking to last night, but they left super early this morning to go to Puerto Viejo. So now I have an empty room, but I'm sure someone will be coming in later tonight. Thank you for listening to my rant. So yeah, let's go get our day started. You have to look sketchy.
I only have these ones. I mean, they don't look bad, but it's not what
You
I
didn't
normally
bring
wear.
your usual jewelry.
Yeah. In Germany it's completely okay, but here it would probably come over as zesty,
Zesty.
I was on vacation in Spain,
Mm-hmm.
and then there was like a grandma, and she was like, "Oh my god, I have the same chain as you." I was like, "Damn!" And then we are actually allowed to wear chains at work. but just the women do, you know? I came with my chain, with a pearl chain. She looked at me like with a disgusted look, and then she phoned the law and order, whatever, and she said like, is a male nurse allowed to wear a pearl chain? And then they said, of course, he's not, you know? And then she was like, oh, you heard it, Jasper, so take it off. And I was like,
That's such an asshole move.
I didn't bring any rings with me, but I thought they were impractical.
Yeah, I always lose rings, so I don't even try. I love the way they look.
I love rings.
But
rings
they'll go
so
missing. Like, they slide off my finger, or, like, I move them to the finger that's the wrong size for it on accident, and then it flies off.
That's actually so...
I'ma take a bougie ass to Rodeo and then let her pick up whatever she want. CC Gucci, he gon' take her whatever she want. She piss me off, somehow she still get whatever she want. Talking about a nigga.
Happy Sunday, y'all. Okay, so I'm getting ready to leave San Jose and I'm gonna go to Puerto Viejo. So I'm gonna catch the 10 o'clock bus. It's 9 right now. I was trying to catch the 8, but it just wasn't giving that. Last night I ended up going out with some of the people from the hostel. It was so much fun. And then surprisingly, somehow I ran into some people that I met at the club like a few weeks ago when I was staying in San Jose before. I ran into them. I'm like, in this big old city, how do I keep running into people that I've met? This happened a couple other times too with some different people, and I went out with the people from the hostel. It was fun, and then we kind of like split up a little bit, and then I found these people that I met a few weeks ago, so then I just ended up like spending the rest of the night with them. They're super nice. It was really fun. So I got back at maybe like 2 something, and surprisingly I woke up pretty early, so now oh my god, my stuff is a mess. But this is the reality of living in this way. Like, I can't keep this organized. But yeah, I'm really excited to go to Puerto Viejo. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and finish packing up my stuff. And then the bus station is the same bus station that I took to go to Cahuita. It's the same bus. It pretty much goes through Limon, Cahuita, and it goes to Puerto Viejo, which is furthest south. It's about like 5 hours on the bus. Probably get there like late afternoon. I need to find somewhere to stay, but there's lots of hostels there because it's a pretty touristy place. So I'm just gonna look on the bus and figure out where I'm gonna stay tonight. Pues sí, yeah. So I'm excited. Our last few days here in Costa Rica, it's been real. It's been so fun. Alrighty, so let's go. Took a bus from San Jose to Puerto Viejo. It costs about like $11 or $12 and it takes like 5 hours. I found this nice hostel to stay at and I spent the rest of the evening just walking around by myself. Something I noticed is that every time I go to a new location, I have some anxiety. While yes, I have been solo traveling for a while now, something about going to a new location makes you feel like you're starting all over again with your confidence. I also had a really weird interaction with someone at the room in my hostel, and I'll tell you guys the story later. But so yeah, I was just feeling super anxious this day. Like, I could barely eat, and I was also still navigating those feelings from the previous rant. After it got dark, I literally went to the beach. I sat in the sand, I journaled. I had a good cry, girls. A good cry will get you right. And yeah, it was just one of those nights. Good morning, y'all. We are in Puerto Viejo, so we have a full day here today. I'm obviously gonna go to the beach. It's like 9 in the morning, but I'm running from this room because it's a long story. I think I will tell it later when I'm not here. So I'm editing and I realized that I didn't tell the story. So I'm going to tell the story really quick. So basically, when I got to my hostel in Puerto Viejo, I checked into my room and there was one person in my room at the time. He was this older white man. So I started talking to him as I do everyone in all my hostels. I always make conversation. I think I asked him, like, what do you do for work? He was about to answer me and then a motorcycle drove by. And then he like closed his eyes. He was like this, you know, they really need to outlaw those things. I understand noise pollution, okay. Motorcycles make people angry, I guess. They really need to outlaw those things. People who own motorcycles are fascists. It just felt like he was imposing this energy on me and I couldn't really get out of it. He was like, and I quote, "It's just like those environmentalists that protest out in the streets. They're fascists." He said, and I quote, "They should line them up and shoot them all. And then he laughed. Babes, I'm a bit scared at this point. And then I remember he asked me, so how long have you been traveling, or what places have you traveled? I said, oh, I haven't been to South America, but I would like to go one day. And then he was like, oh, I don't recommend it. And I was like, this can't be good coming out of his mouth. He was like, growing up in Florida, I always lived in colored communities. I'm like, the history of the term colored in America, we don't use it anymore because of how much it's associated with America's history of anti-black racism, Jim Crow time. And as we said, he started telling the story of how the blacks and the Hispanics were always killing each other. First of all, I don't understand why he thought it was appropriate to rant to anyone about that, but especially to someone that fits the demographic of the people you are describing. And he starts telling these like very graphic stories of murders that he witnessed growing up in Florida. You don't know what I've been through. You don't know how your story is gonna negatively trigger or affect me. Like, why are you gonna sit here and tell me these traumatic, violent stories of things you've witnessed? He was taking his experience with black people and Hispanic people and painting it in a completely negative light and using that as justification for why people shouldn't visit South America, and that's literally racism. In that case, I personally did not feel comfortable like speaking up about what I thought of what he was saying. We're staying in the same room together. No one was there, and he seemed like a volatile person. Listen, I don't want no smoke. I'm just trying to escape this conversation. Then I was like, I'm not going back to that room until I know that man is asleep. I literally spent the whole day out of the room. Like I said, I was at the beach. I felt more safe being out there in the public at night by myself than I did in that room with that man. Like, so I went to the front desk and I was like, do you have any other available beds in another dorm? So then the guy at the front desk obviously was like, what's the problem? Why do you want to move? And I was just like, oh, I'm just not comfortable in my room. He was like, but why? And I was just like, yeah, I'm just not comfortable in my room. Sometimes people don't understand. I mean, obviously this wasn't an issue of being targeted as a woman, but I think all women can kind of relate to this idea of like, when you start telling people you're uncomfortable, like, no, he's just making me uncomfortable, like, I don't feel safe around him. A lot of times it's like this intuitive gut feeling that other people, especially men, can't necessarily understand. They just be like, but why? It's kind of that same idea, even though obviously this was more like racially charged than gender-based. It was a whole thing. And pretty much it ended with the guy at the front desk telling me that they didn't have any other beds in another dorm. So this gives you a little bit of context to the situation. And it ended up being fine. I never had another conversation with the man. That was my experience. Back to the vlog. It's empty right now, but at any moment it could not be empty. So that's the thing about hostel living. Your space is not really your space, you know? Someone can come in at any second, which it's the price you pay. Well, this place is like $15 a night. It's a really nice facility. Like, there's a nice pool. It's close to the downtown area. It's close to the beach, so it's worth it. But you never know who is gonna be staying with you. So I'll tell the story later. But yeah, so I'm trying to pack up everything for the beach and maybe like explore a little bit more of the town also. So yeah, let's go.
escrito, pero por Instagram, en plan para
No tiene
que...
internet, o sea,
No
cuando
te
esté en el
preocupes.
hostal.
So we caught a bus from Puerto Viejo to a town called Manzanillo, which was about like a 20-25 minute drive away. And we walked through the National Wildlife Refuge called Gandoca Manzanillo. So beautiful. And then, so we wanted to go from Manzanillo to Punta Uva, which is like 5-10 minute drive away. But the bus didn't come for like another hour and some change. So we literally hitchhiked. We saw this truck drive by and we were like, this is perfect. So we asked them if they'd be willing to like drop us off at Punta Uva. And they said yes. Oh, this was so fun. Such a core memory.
Muchas gracias.
And there's the bus stop there, so
So we made it to Punta Uva. This place is so beautiful. The water is so blue. The trees are so green. And the girls were telling me they had gone the day before it rained. And they were able to snorkel and see lots of fish and everything. But after it rained on this day, we weren't able to see anything because the sand gets kind of disheveled. Yeah, so we spent some time swimming here. And then we saw a sloth up in the tree. Sloths are everywhere here in Costa Rica. So the group of us decided to meet up for dinner and drinks later. So we all went back to our different hostels, showered, changed, and then got ready for dinner. We went out to eat together. We got drinks at this bar in Puerto Viejo called Salsa Brava. All in all, it was a great day and a great night with some new friends. The next day, this is my last day here in Puerto Viejo. I went walking around to some shops. Puerto Viejo is a super lively community. You'll see lots of billboards with different businesses and activities and events going on. So I just spent the rest of the day walking around and getting stuff to eat, spending time at the beach, reflecting before I caught my bus back to San Jose. All in all, my whole experience here in Costa Rica, but especially these last few weeks that I spent just jumping around from different locations, going with the flow of life. This whole experience was just amazing. It was priceless. Changed the way I think about myself, changed the way I think about the world in so many ways. Such a newfound sense of confidence in myself and in my ability to adapt to new environments and my ability to make new friends and make new connections with people from all different walks of life. There's so much I could say about this, and I'm gonna make more videos in the future talking more about this experience, reflecting more on what I've learned from this. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you haven't already, check out the other videos, a part of the whole Costa Rica Diaries, to see how the whole experience went. I'll see you in the next one. Mwah!